This second video is to demo the application more as a case study. Whereas the first video was more of a general overview of how to use the tool, this video will show how to use the tool for more practical purposes. So mentioned in the prior video, we have a data layer that contains new businesses that opened in the District of Columbia in 2013. We also have several widgets, including the heat map widget, the edit widget, and the bookmark widget, and the Google Street View widget. For this case study demo, we're only going to be using the heat map widget and the bookmark widget. So if we assume that we're an economic development official looking to attract retail to the District of Columbia, and maybe I'm reading the newspapers and the blogs and walking the streets and I see a lot of activity happening in certain areas of the city, I want to be able to use this data or use this tool to take a deeper dive to understand what's really happening in terms of businesses that are moving in. So one of the areas in DC that's really kind of booming right now is the 14th and U Street area. It's identified by 14th Street, which runs north and south, and then U Street, which is east to west. So right now you can see a heat map showing all the businesses that opened in this neighborhood, this area, in 2013. And you can, if you look in the heat map, it tells you 77 features, and this is all the businesses, excuse me, that opened in 1 year. Now this still doesn't tell me a whole lot. It just tells me that, hey, there's been 77 businesses that opened. So I want to understand, well, what areas, what types of businesses should we be trying to attract to this area, given that it's had a lot of tremendous amount of growth in terms of development and population growth. So if we look at restaurants and bars, you can see you have the 77, 54 of these businesses are either restaurants and bars. So this is now becoming a destination, so we don't really have to focus our attention on trying to attract additional restaurants and bars. They're kind of taking care of that themselves. But if we take a look at another sector, such as clothing, we can see there's been 5. So again, so maybe this is an area now we say more people are coming here. A lot of restaurants and bars are now bringing people to this neighborhood from other areas of the city or even from neighboring Virginia and Maryland. Maybe there's an opportunity here for a clothing store or more clothing stores to open up in this neighborhood. Now, another way to use this application would be to look at the effect that policy might have on attracting certain types of businesses to an area, and this is where the time series could come in handy. Now, admittedly, we only have it for 1 year, so we're looking at a per month basis. Ideally, you'd have this data over several years, so you could really take a look at impact of policy. But again, the tool is set up to do that. You just need the data. Just need that data, and then you could run the tool, and it would tell you. But the idea being is that, let's say the city put on a liquor moratorium for 14th and U Street area, basically meaning that they're capping the number of liquor licenses that they give out for a particular area of the city. Restaurants make most of their money off liquor sales, and so if you limit the liquor licenses, that pretty much by default limits the number of restaurants and bars that'll open in the area. So you could use the time series to see, is that really having an effect? Did the number of restaurants and bars, have they really stopped growing once this liquor moratorium has been put in? And does that leave an opportunity for other types of businesses to move in since there's now less competition for that space? And then finally, the way that this time series actually can work, and again, we'll just run through the restaurants and bars again. We'll do it this time manually, though, to take a quicker look to see is when restaurants and bars tend to open during the course of the year. And again, you could do this for any sector, but let's just use restaurants and bars. And so we're looking now at kind of January, and as we move forward, kind of more winter months, you see they're not really opening in the winter time. But then once we get to kind of May, you start to see some are opening. And as we get into more and more summer, you'll see more and more now start popping up. And so as a government official, I might say, okay, come springtime, we really make sure we have enough staff on hand to handle all of the building permits or certificate occupancies or whatever resources restaurants and bars in this case would need, so that we can kind of scale up to meet that demand, since we know that they like to open in summer, therefore they're going to be submitting all their paperwork, again, in the springtime. So there's just a couple examples how this tool can be used for more practical purposes to help, whether it be economic development officials or even city people, understand kind of what's happening with the business community at a neighborhood level.